All right, everybody. And at the sound of the recording and process, we're in session. Hello, everybody. My name is Eric Reed. I'm seeing some familiar names and faces in the attendees window. So welcome to those I know from previous trainings, and welcome to those who are just being introduced to Eric Reed Cybersecurity training today. My name is Eric Reed, and I would like to thank you, first off, for taking the time out today to join us. I think you'll find the next hour incredibly informative and motivating to propel your security career forward. In this webinar, we'll be exploring the return on investment, specifically on the CISSP certification, from the financial benefits to the career growth, and how you can overcome challenges to earn this credential. I'm very excited to be your guide on not only this journey today, but hopefully the journey as you pursue your CISSP certification. With over 35 years of experience in the IT industry, I've witnessed the evolution of technology firsthand. For the most part, I've stayed somewhat ahead of the curve, or tried to. For the past 25 years, I've specialized in certification instruction, helping professionals sharpen their skills and elevate their careers. I've got the greatest job in the world. I get to help students succeed in achieving their financial goals and their aspirations for advancement, or flat out switching and getting into IT or information security. Greatest job in the world. For 18 of those last 25, I've focused on teaching CISSP, lots of CISSP, and other advanced cybersecurity certifications exclusively. In late 2007, I taught my very last Microsoft Systems Engineering course. It's been nothing but security ever since. I've had the privilege over the years of training more than 60,000 students, both online, live, in person, and through a variety of self-study products that we filmed over the years, empowering them with the knowledge and confidence to succeed in IT and cybersecurity. Whether you're just starting, career changer, dipping your toe in the waters of cybersecurity, or you're already in the industry, I'm here to help you succeed. So let's get started and make this an engaging, rewarding hour and rewarding experience. All right, the overview. As a presenter, I'm supposed to tell you what we're going to talk about it, and then tell you what we talked about. So today's agenda, we're going to go over the following topics. Number one, why the CISSP is considered to be the gold standard. Two, the financial benefits of CISSP certification. Three, the high demand for CISSPs, current job market trends and analyses. Four, career growth and job security with the CISSP certification. Five, overcoming barriers to achieve your CISSP certification, budget, time constraints, lack of direction. I'm going to lay out my system for training CISSPs, the Eric Reed Training Advantage, which has been carefully crafted and optimized over the last 18 years. It's currently evolved into a three-phase approach. I'm going to lay out exactly how we do it, and our success factors are excellent. It's usually 100% pass rates for the students that complete the three-phase training at the prescribed metrics. It is extremely rare that one of my students really in any of our boot camps doesn't pass in the first attempt. That's my whole tagline, my whole mantra: pass on the first attempt, set your sights high, step up to the plate, swing the bat, knock it out of the park. No need for a second retake or multiple retakes, even worse. So we're going to make it so you succeed on the first attempt, because nothing takes the wind out of your sails like missing it by that much. We're going to talk about how you can enroll today. We're going to wrap up today's hour-long segment with about 15 minutes of Q&A. At that point, it is open floor, fire away, ask what you will. If you'd like additional counseling, one-on-one, or for very specific requests, We can set up a time to discuss things one-on-one after the session. I will provide my contact information. So it's great to have everybody. Let's get started. All right, let's start off with why the CISSP is considered to be the gold standard. It's globally recognized. It's been around for a really long time. It's a rigorous exam, and the integrity of the testing process is absolutely unmatched. Nobody passes the CISSP by mistake. If you pass it, you know your stuff, and the industry knows that. It's well established over the last 30 years. The CISSP currently tests your knowledge in 8 domains called the Common Body of Knowledge, and it's governed by the CISSP, which is the vendor that validates advanced cybersecurity experience and develops various cybersecurity certifications. Earning CISSP means that you've mastered a broad range of security topics, and that is an understatement. CISSP is often referred to as an inch deep and a mile wide. Not too terribly deep in one category, but lots of holistics, very broad, very wide. It covers the entire spectrum of information security. So it's a fantastic foundation for any other certifications that you achieve. It's the quote unquote security baseline for everything. All right, you're also required to commit to a rigorous code of ethics. We will talk about that in the training. But the CISSP Code of Ethics, in a nutshell, ensures you act honestly, responsibly, legally, etc. The CISSP is not just a credential, it's a mark of credibility. With over 100,000 certified holders worldwide, it signals that you meet a bar of knowledge and experience. Top organizations, including both government agencies and Fortune 500 companies, prefer or require CISSP for their senior security roles, underscoring its prestige. Now, this certification originally was designed for managers. It was designed to get managers understanding the technical concerns and vice versa. But since it's so widely recognized, it applies to anyone in information security, whether they're currently a manager, auditor, or not. It also was one of the first certifications to be certified under the ISO IEC 17024. There's thousands of ISO standards. This one in particular, just to give you an idea, sets the criteria for organizations certifying individuals against specific requirements. It's designed to ensure impartiality and consistency in the certification processes, the competence of personnel involved in certification, and the credibility of certifications being recognized globally. Now, other vendors are certified under ISO IEC, but CISSP was the first, and they also take it to the next level. The security of their exam development and delivery process, it's unmatched. The protection of the question material, the protection of the delivery, greatly reduces the possibility for exam fraud. You have to take the exam in person, not at just any view testing center, but a premier view testing center that's been certified against additional physical security requirements. It's very difficult to cheat on this exam or commit fraud. But even with all that in place, you're still subjected to a forensic review once you've provisionally passed your exam. They're going to tell you passed, but hold on a second, we need to investigate. That's an AI analysis of your exam taking experience and statistics looking for anomalies. So again, very unlikely that fraud is being committed, but there's an after-the-fact forensic just to verify. So that speaks to the security of the certification. All right, the gold standard means you have at least 5 years of hands-on security work experience and have passed a tough 3-hour exam. Tough is an understatement. Nobody has the warm fuzzies while they're taking CISSP. As a matter of fact, part of the experience is making you think there's no way I'm going to pass this thing. That is a common perception across all my test takers. They're like, man, I didn't think I was going to pass. And then ding, 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 it passed me at question 100. I've had 2 reports in the last week with exactly the same feedback. That's kind of the deal. When you sit down, that exam is going to give you at least 2 correct answers, sometimes 3. You have to choose which one is the best. I've been teaching this course for 18 years, and I still have to flip a coin because you can argue which is the best either way. That's the secret sauce for CISSP. That's the mindset you're looking to develop and adopt. That's the secret to success. And there's no defined algorithm for that. We've got guidelines, we've got mindsets. That intuition develops organically through multiple phases of preparation. We'll talk more about that in a little bit of a later slide. All right, well-rounded expertise makes you stand out as a leader in cybersecurity. Now, the experience requirement. We're going to come back to that. Now, it is required to be a CISSP that you've been working in the industry for 5 years. However, there's an associate status that you can achieve, pass the CISSP exam, and then let the experience kick in over the next 6 years. Recently, I've had several college students who haven't entered the industry yet that are kind of riding that certification wave, and they decided to take it all the way through CISSP. So you can get certified as an associate, shows you've passed the exam, and then let the experience kick in later. So don't let the experience requirement discourage you from pursuing the certification. Also, the endorsement process. They make a bigger deal out of that than is necessary. You do need a ISC squared certified individual in good standing to endorse your experience. ISC squared will assist in some cases if you don't know one. And I've also got some resources where we can assist in that endorsement process. So we'll definitely help you along with that, but it needs to be someone that can verify your experience. I'm going to litter a few things in here that we're going to talk in later slides. That's just kind of how I roll. Okay, now probably the most interesting aspect of this discussion is the financial benefits of CISSP. It kind of boils down to how much more money is this certification going to make me? So we're going to be looking at this from an ROI perspective. And first thing to keep in mind is this is an investment, not a cost. The higher earning potential, CISSP certified individuals typically earn on average 20 to 25% more than their non-certified peers. I'm going to say that one more time. 20 to 25% more than their non-certified. In fact, some industry studies show that salary increases up to 35% after achieving the certification. Now, that's definitely a substantial pay raise that will dramatically accelerate your return on the certification investment. You will recoup that in less than a year. The salary figures specifically, now this will vary from source to source, but there's always impressive salary figures. The average annual salary for a CISSP holder, one second, my highlighter stalled out. I normally use the Zoom It screen inking software. I'm using the presentation mode here. There we go. I just noticed I, by habit, kicked in Zoom. In Zoom It, you're not seeing my ink. So there it is. Let me backfill that a little bit. All right. Higher earning potential. Impressive salary figures. Global average, $119,000 per year globally. In North America, it's about $147,000. Not bad. These figures put CISSP holders among the best paid professionals in IT. High-level security roles like architects or managers with CISSP often command salaries as much as $175,000 or more. This means that your earning power with a CISSP can be significantly greater than without it. All right, the certification does pay for itself. So again, it's an investment, it's not a cost. Yes, there are upfront costs. Now, at the very minimum, it's $750 to take the exam. But if you just go take the exam without direction and proper prep, you're going to burn up $750. And then you're going to do it again with the retake and possibly again. I've had students that have failed the exam on their own 2 or 3 times, come back, participate in the 3-phase training, pass in the first attempt, right around question 100. So the direction is everything. There's lots of resources out there at various price points. I'm going to tell you right now, in all likelihood, you're not going to watch 4 hours of YouTube videos and pass the CISSP. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of those videos are excellent. Deep dives into specific topics, but there's no way you can cover CISSP in 4 hours. It does require additional prep. We'll talk more about that when we talk about our system. All right, the cost for training can also vary considerably. Now, you get what you pay for. A couple $100 training compared to a few $1,000 training, there's a reason why there's such a pricing difference. There's a lot to be said for your time investment. If you tinker around with a solution that doesn't give you the proper direction, no telling what the dollar amount of those wasted hours can really be. So it's helpful, again, an investment, engage a time-proven preparation process, and get predictable results. So anyway, in the industry, you'll see, as high as $4,500. Some of those courses also don't even include the exam fee. So we'll talk a little bit more about the pricing differences a little bit later when we start talking about our 3-phase program. All right, so that exam fee of $749, but a bump of $10,000 to $20,000 increase in annual pay, that's more than 100% ROI in the first year. Very few investments can really claim that kind of payoff. And then beyond that, long-term financial growth. Beyond the immediate raise, CISSP sets you up for long-term earnings growth. It'll position you for management and director level roles that come with higher salaries and bonuses. Over a career, a CISSP can earn hundreds of thousands of dollars in extra income, which truly does make it a golden certification in more ways than one. One specific example. Think of 2 professionals with 5 to 10 years of experience. One is CISSP certified, the other is not. The CISSP professional might land a senior security analyst role at $130,000, not bad. While the other qualifies for a $100,000 role, also not bad. But you're talking about a $30,000 difference. Year after year, that's huge. Over 5 years, that's 150 grand, all from one certification. So at the risk of repeating myself again, it's not an expense, it's a career investment. It yields tangible financial dividends. It also sets you up for just the possibility of ascending to manager level roles, which again, it's often a requirement. All right, as far as the demand, right now, the job market's a little bit weird. There's a lot of people seeking employment, but a lot of these individuals are getting into the industry, don't necessarily have the experience that a lot of these jobs are requiring. So there is a cybersecurity talent shortage. All right, we're in a bit of a crisis, which is definitely opportunity for you with the right skill set and the certifications to, at the very least, qualify you for the interview. Then there's a lot of opportunity out there. So I said a lot of option out there, a lot of opportunity. By the end of this year, it's estimated that there will be 3.5 million cybersecurity jobs unfilled globally. Organizations are desperate for skilled security professionals, and this demand means if you have the right credentials, you can pretty much write your ticket for a position that you qualify for. The CISSP is your ticket to opportunity. It's like a master key that opens many of these open jobs. If you've been out on a cybersecurity job board recently, you've seen lots of CISSP preferred or CISSP required. And it's not just for managerial roles because, again, everybody understands the value of the CISSP. If you've passed this exam, at the very least, you show a lot of discipline preparing and you show a commanding knowledge of all areas of cybersecurity. So remember, this is not just for managers, it's for everyone. And it's nice to have that ace in the hole if you do want to ascend to a managerial position. It's often the differentiator. So between you, the CISSP certified, and the uncertified, that resume filtration, a lot of times resumes that don't have the required certs are just put off to the side. So at the very least, it's a filter that gets you that interview. Industry-wide recognition. Anybody in cybersecurity or information security has an awareness, at least partial awareness, of the credibility of CISSP. And it applies to all industries, from finance to healthcare to tech and government. CISSP is recognized and trusted. It's not tied to a single vendor or platform. It is vendor agnostic. So the value is broad. The universality means a CISSP can help you land a job in virtually any sector that uses information systems and technology, and that's every sector. Wherever there's sensitive data or critical systems, employers want CISSPs on the team. All right, specific job roles and demands. So if we had to put some labels on job roles that require CISSP, we're talking about things like security manager, senior security consultant, IT security architect, or chief information security officer. Now, there's a lot of vendors that have their own CISSP equivalent certification that covers the same type of knowledge base, but so far, none have caught up to CISSP as far as the recognition and the credibility. All right, the cert is effectively a gateway to leadership roles that would otherwise be out of reach. And career resilience. High demand also means better job security. More on that in a second. In simple terms, as a CISSP, you won't be hunting for jobs. Jobs will be hunting for you. If you have CISSP on your resume, you're going to find that lots of recruiters are going to be knocking on your door. Companies know the value you bring, and the market trends show that that value is only increasing. The cybersecurity field is expanding year after year. CISSP is at the center of the growth. It's truly a seller's market for CISSP certified talent. All right, a little bit more on career growth and job security. The ability to advance to leadership positions, which again, CISSP isn't just about landing any job, it's about propelling you upward in your career. Certification often serves as a springboard into management and executive level roles. Many CISSPs move into titles like we mentioned in the previous slide: security director, IT security manager, senior security engineer, or again, even chief information security officer. In fact, the CISSP is commonly a prerequisite for roles like CSO or security director. If your goal is to lead a security team or department, CISSP is the credential that signals you're ready for that responsibility. Faster promotions and growth. With CISSP on your resume, you're far more likely to be tapped for promotions. Employers see that you have a comprehensive understanding of security strategy and risk management. You've proven you can see the big picture in cybersecurity. That really exemplifies CISSP, the big picture. It covers everything. This makes you a strong candidate to supervise others, manage large projects, or head up new initiatives. The certification marks you as a leader in the information security field, giving upper management confidence and assigning you greater responsibilities. All right, job security. Everybody wants job security and peace of mind. And again, in today's market, a little bit volatile, a lot of uncertainty here currently, kind of ebb and flow with that. But having a CISSP on your resume is going to make you more resilient to that type of market volatility. In an era of layoffs and uncertainty in some tech sectors, cybersecurity remains a safe harbor. Now, I had to look twice when I was collecting some statistics for our demonstration. I heard some claims that I had to verify that near 0% for skilled professionals is accurate. It's around 3 or so. It depends on the resource. But the unemployment rate for skilled professionals, effectively near 0%. It's projected to remain there. Organizations can't afford to let skilled cybersecurity professionals go. Risk is too high. Having a CISSP will also further insulate you as a badge that you're among the best in a zero unemployment field. Now, again, I have problems with that zero unemployment because that doesn't apply to the general populace. They're talking about skilled professionals with experience. Even if you did find yourself job hunting, the CISSP is going to put you at the head of that search. virtually guarantees you'll find a new position quickly because your skills are in critical demand. All right, professional credibility and networking. Earning the CISSP is not just about the certificate. You join an elite professional community. Becoming a CISSP means you're now a member of ISC Squared, which opens up all sorts of networking opportunities with other security leaders worldwide. It demonstrates your commitment to the highest cybersecurity standards and expertise, and again, the highest code of ethics. The credibility can boost your confidence and reputation. Colleagues and employers will trust your judgment more readily. You'll find yourself being consulted for major decisions or strategic projects. In short, CISSP elevates your professional brand. All right, you're also not done when you complete your CISSP. Now, you will definitely make sure that you maintain that cert because you're not going to want to have to go in and take that exam again. So there is a requirement for continuous learning and adaptability. It's a journey that keeps going. Most certifications require some type of continuing education. So to maintain the certification, you earn CPEs. Now, every vendor is a little bit different on what they call those. Continuing credits, continuing education credits, CPEs, whatever. You're required to get ongoing education. This encourages you to stay up to date on the latest security trends and technologies. This built-in learning component means CISSPs remain on the cutting edge. Your career benefits not only from the title, but from the continuous growth in knowledge. Employers value this adaptability. It means you're never stale, always evolving to tackle new challenges. And then job satisfaction. Finally, the personal fulfillment aspect. With CISSP level roles, you get a seat at the table. You'll be able to influence high-level decisions and strategy, not just do the grunt work. This can lead to a greater job satisfaction. You're doing impactful work and often have a broader scope to make a difference. Knowing that you have a respected certification under your belt can give you confidence to voice your ideas and drive change in your organization. CISSP empowers you not only to secure a job, but to shape a career you're truly proud of. All right, overcoming the barriers. What are the potential hurdles to pursuing the CISSP certification? Cost, time, and direction is the short answer. And you might be thinking, hey, Eric, this all sounds great, but what exactly is the cost? What exactly is the time commitment? How difficult is this exam? I've heard horror stories. Let's address each of these items head on. The cost. Remember, an investment, not an expense. Your salary increase should recoup the cost quickly. The exam is, again, currently $749. It's a little bit different depending on region. So United States, it's $749. Quality prep courses can range from low numbers to a few $1,000s. In my experience, that again, you get what you pay for, and you're going to want to shoot for a reputable provider that's been around a while, that has time-proven results that you can get student testimonials on. We've got plenty of those. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a second. All right, that can feel steep initially, but again, frame it as an investment in your career. As we showed, the ROI can be recouped in your very first year of a new job or raise. Additionally, many employers offer certification reimbursement. We will talk about that. Or training budgets. Check if your company can support you financially. I have some companies that actually allow the employees to carve out time to prepare for their certifications. So definitely research if your employer is going to assist. Now, in some situations, you might sign an agreement, memorandum of understanding, for example, that by using these training dollars, you agree to stay around for a while, that you're not going to go get your certification, then let somebody hire you away. So check with your company what's provided, what the commitment requirements are, but it's usually a lot more cost effective if you can have your employer subsidized. Enough said. So think long term. One-time cost now yields higher earnings for decades. When you calculate the pay bump over the years, the investment is a smart business decision for your career. Now, I don't want to claim that the CISSP will get you any job you want, but it definitely speaks volumes for your discipline, your knowledge, and your credibility. It's at the very least is going to get you that interview. It's still up to you to sell yourself in the interview, but if you got the backing and the know-how behind it, you're a solid candidate. So there is definitely the concept of, certifications. Are they going to, I hear guarantees by some other resources. Oh, this guarantees you'll get a job. Nothing guarantees you'll get a job, but it definitely gives you a huge, monstrous advantage. All right, the time investment. Exactly how long is this going to take me to prep? That depends. It completely depends on how much time you have to dedicate on a consistent basis. Now, my average student takes about 3 months to prepare for the exam. I'll go over the 3-phase process here in just a second. It's anywhere from 3 months to 6 months or even a year, depending on how much phase 2 time investment. I recently had a student who'd been prepping on his own for several years. He finished in 6 weeks flat. I'm like, what? You're ready to go? You've got all your phase 2 questions? Well, here's your phase 3. Holy cow. 6 weeks. Are you sure? That's an accelerated path. On average, it's about 3 months. The boot camp mentality. Originally, I tried to mirror my other boot camps. Now, any other course I teach, I'm going to have you ready to test in a week. And I'm going to do 100% pass rates every time. Those processes are more of a sprint. CISSP is more of a marathon. It has to do with the expansive nature of the question base and the security of the exam delivery process. So it's not that it's not that you're sprinting to the finish, boot camp one and done. It's you're pacing yourself. A lot of people get caught up in, well, I should be able to do that with CISSP too. CISSP is just way too big to address in 5 days. 5-day boot camps, in my experience, have very low success rates. Although sometimes they're marketed at much higher rates than they actually are. I've had lots of students that have come in after a 5 or 6 day boot camp that failed the exam, soundly, and are back for a more directed, consistent approach. So we'll talk about that. A lot of times, those boot camps are review sessions. They're meant for students that have already been studying for an extended period of time, and even then, the success rates are relatively low. I'll talk more about statistics here in just a second. And I've lost my place on this slide. Let's get back to the bullet points. Okay, time. So approximate time frame, I'd say 3 to 6 months. It's all, again, dependent on how much time you can put in during the day or during the week. All right, some students spend 12 or more months preparing with a lack of direction, which means time wasted, only to go take the exam and fail. Now, we do base our course on the ISC Squared official study guide, but reading the book by itself, it's not going to get you there. It's a great foundation. Our materials are heavily expanded upon and enhanced to include 3 phases of preparation, which I'm already starting to talk about our process. I'll get back to that here in just a second. So it does require time and dedication, but when you pass that exam, it's all worth it. That is one of the greatest feelings in the world. You feel like you're going to fail. Oh my gosh, the exam ended. I passed. And lately, we've been having students pass right at question 100. That means you're killing it. And they all report back, wow, I didn't think I was doing so well, because you're sweating every question. It's a matter of intuition and picking the right answer. So consistently, we'll do students at low question numbers, which means you're at the passing proficiency with the minimum number of questions. You get between 100 and 150. If you get near 150, think real carefully about those questions because you're right on the edge. All right, difficulty, it's an expansive exam. No 2 ways about it. You don't have to be an expert in everything. It's an inch deep and a mile wide. So we're going to introduce you to the 8 domains. Going to give you the specifics, the things you need to know for the exam. You can dive deeper later after the exam, but we target everything that you're more likely to be tested on. All right, thousands of people pass this exam every year. You can too. Our pass rates are excellent. For students who complete the 3 phases at the prescribed metrics, it is almost invariably a pass on the first attempt at a low score. Now, every so often, we'll get a brutal case of test anxiety. I had one student about 5 years ago, pre-pandemic, who would get in the exam and he'd just lock up. It took him 3 tries to get there. He was testing out with his performance metrics, but he took 3 attempts to actually knock out the exam. That's the exception rather than the rule. By the time you sit for that exam, you're going to have very, very effective or authoritative indicators. I lost what I wanted to say there. You're going to have excellent performance metrics that will gauge your probability of passing the exam on the first attempt. Staying motivated. Again, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Like a marathon, you might find yourself getting tired thinking, I think I'm going to go ahead and disengage. At that point, I want you to pick up the phone and give me a call, set a new study strategy, try to avoid burnout, give you a little pep talk, and keep you going. Because again, at the end of the game, it's all well worth it. When you pass that exam, there's no better feeling in the world. And again, we mentioned employer sponsorship. We have relationships currently with outfits like Raytheon and a variety of others where we're part of their approved vendor list. So again, check with your company, identify whether or not they have preferred vendors. We'd be happy to become one. And we do offer, in some cases, discounted rates depending on the corporate relationship. So as we mentioned before, many companies offer certification reimbursement as part of their professional development benefits. All right, so I'm going to talk about how I do it and how this has been developed over the years. We're going to call this the Eric Reed Training Advantage. I've spent over 25 years helping professionals like you achieve certification success in cybersecurity. Through my training programs, as I mentioned before, at last count and approximation, I've had the privilege of working with over 60,000 cybersecurity professionals. Again, both online, live, in person, and through all of our video products for self-study. With that kind of experience, I've learned exactly what works. I've refined my curriculum over decades to match both the industry demands and the exam requirements. When you train with me, you're benefiting from a quarter century of proven strategies and best practices. I got the bug when I taught my first A+ class. My very first A+ class, we did a 100% pass rate. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to accept anything less than that. So since that time, I've consistently achieved 100% pass rates with very few exceptions. If you Google or LinkedIn looking for Eric Reed, passing the first attempt, you'll see lots of examples of testimonials. You're going to be hard pressed to find someone that did not pass if they followed my recommendations. And every so often, somebody decides to use other preparation materials and their results might be less than optimal. Use my materials, they're updated on a consistent basis. You're in all likelihood going to pass on the first attempt. All right, not just another trainer. So I'm trying to give you, not toot my horn too much here, but I've been EC Council's Instructor of the Year 10 times. 7 times in Circle of Excellence in the 18 years that I've worked with them. And EC Council is the vendor that puts out CEH. And part of that is based on my pass rates, my exam prep, and student feedback. So I've been doing this a really long time. I've got a lot of experience. I know how to do this. I know how to achieve results, and I know how to get you to succeed. That's my thing. I want you to pass on the first attempt. And that makes my job the greatest in the world because we are highly successful consistently. All right, I'm also not just the instructor during class. I'm here to guide you and motivate you every step of the way. I'm going to share out my cell phone and call me anytime. If I can't answer immediately, I'm teaching a class, I'll get right back to you. But ask any student that's been in my classes, I'm highly available. If you have questions about anything, I'm not going to leave you just, flapping in the breeze. Our training programs consistently deliver outstanding results. I've already mentioned the pass rates. The pass rate for CISSP is not really published. You'll hear things like 70% on the first attempt. I think it's actually a lot lower than that. Our pass rates have always been 95 or better since the get-go. So again, generally 100%. All right, when you train with me, you get a complete learning experience. Now, we also have some flexible options. So you get structured live instruction. My domain name is ericreedlive.com for a reason. It's always a live delivery, and it's always Eric Reed, even if it's recorded. Huh? That sounds like an oxymoron. The sessions are delivered online live, which means you can attend our Zoom sessions just like you're doing right now from 10 to 6 Monday through Friday. If that doesn't fit your schedule, the session recordings are available to you for Saturdays, Saturday for 5 weeks, or night sessions, 2 nights a week for 5 weeks. You can break things down into evening and in weekend sessions and still have the direct instructor access. So it's the last live course. It's got the recent updates. It's the latest prep materials, and it's still access to the live instructor. That is quite a bit different than a self-study product that has been filmed a couple years ago, where you get no instructor access and, even worse, no current exam prep. So it's the best of all worlds. It's a live instructor-led session. It's the convenience of on-demand, or it's a hybrid of the two. Those session recordings are available for 1 year from the date of access, but I don't really blow those out until I'm running out of space in Google Drive. So typically they're available indefinitely. So you've got plenty of flexibility to complete the course, complete the training on your schedule, and you always have direct access to me. If the phone rings, I'm going to answer it. Although my wife has a new rule about weekends and late evenings, but I'll generally find a reason to sneak away and call you back anyway. We also have structured support hours. So if you call during specific hours of the day or during the evenings in the week or Saturday, I'm guaranteed to be available. I lost my place here. Flexible learning options. I think that was it. Oh, and the personalized support. So again, once you're an Eric Reed student, you are always an Eric Reed student. I'm in for the long haul relationship. I'm not here just to teach you one class and let you kind of have at it. I would love to be involved in your security education ongoing. All right, one quick success story, and I think I touched on this earlier. One of my students, busy IT manager, came to me after failing the CISSP exam on his own. After completing my course, he passed on the next try. I've got lots of examples of that. And actually, we're going to be showcasing student testimonials and student success stories more frequently on social media. We're going to be doing some video interviews, and I would love for you to be the subject of one of our next success stories. When you choose Eric Reed Training, you're choosing a proven, reliable path to certification success and the career growth that comes with it. So let's do this together. Oh, I left out the promotion. That was the biggest feather in the cap. Within 3 months, he was promoted to security director. I also had another student recently, Alex, who's now a cybersecurity instructor. So he took the CISSP, the Security Plus, and the CEH, and he just got his dream job of teaching. Just got an email from him this week. I had my first day, and I've got an office. I've never had an office before. I love that stuff. All right, so call to action, enroll today. So however you want to approach this, it's completely up to you. But if you want to save time and have some direction, we've got a really solid solution for you that's been built meticulously over the last 18 years. Your career, your investment. We've talked about how CISSP certification can elevate your salary, open doors in a thriving market, and future-proof your career. The question now is, are you ready to take that step and reap the rewards? Remember, again, not a cost, an investment, truly a gold standard investment that will pay dividends throughout your career. Every day you wait is a day of potential higher earnings and opportunities you leave on the table. Remember, you're placing an order starting your CISSP that's delivered much later. It's about a 3-month process or longer depending on your time commitment. We do have an exclusive webinar offer. You'll be receiving an email after we wrap up today, where we're going to be offering some additional discounts for attendees of the webinar. This is a thank you for spending some time and taking time out of your day for a discussion of your professional growth. If you enroll in our upcoming CISSP training course, you'll receive a special discount. Those details will be disclosed in the email. My contact information, or the contact information of whoever invited you to this webinar. Now, we do have partner relationships with other vendors. So if you're here at the invitation of another vendor, please reach out to them directly for enrollment, and they'll give you the specifics, the pricing structure, and so forth. So my email, eric@ericreedlive.com. My phone number, this is my cell, my WhatsApp, and my Signal, 404-277-0506. Call anytime. I actually prefer phone calls to emails because I think we get a lot more done with a quick phone call than multiple emails back and forth. Seats are limited. Now, we typically try to keep our student seats limited to a lower number to maximize the learning experience. We also will have students that are attending off hours on demand, but there are limited seats available. So if you'd like to secure your spot now, be a good idea. The upcoming dates next week, we're running a CISSP from March 24th to March 28th. And the next delivery after that will be May 12th to May 16th. For the full schedule, you can visit us at ericreedlive.com/CISSP training. Just Google Eric Reed CISSP. It'll get you where you want to go. All right. Imagine yourself a few months from now, certified, confident, stepping into a higher paying role with more responsibilities. That can be your reality. I've seen many professionals transform their careers with this certification, and I would love for you to be the next. The ROI of CISSP isn't just a number, it's measured in doors it will open and the professional growth you'll experience. Take control of your career trajectory, invest in yourself, and enroll today. Let's make your cybersecurity career soar. All right, we're going to wrap up the session with a Q&A, and this is open forum. So the questions field, I'll be fielding questions from the audience. I've also got a list of FAQs. We'll be publishing that on the website at some point, but the floor is now open. Now, before we do the Q&A, for those of you heading out, thank you for attending. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to hear about CISSP and our product and how we do things. Be on the lookout for an email from us, which you're going to find a great deal on our next CISSP class, only for those who attended the session. All right, so at this point, we're going to open things to Q&A. I got a couple questions in the window. The person studied for domain of CISA. Would that help with CISSP certification? Yes. Okay. Every certification is a great foundation for CISSP. You're going to find that a lot of these certs have almost identical exam objectives because a lot of it is designed for targeting military personnel in various 8140, 8570 levels. So with that being said, you see all these common objectives, but the questions in the exam are different. So you always need a solid exam prep for that specific exam. Security Plus and CISSP, they're very similar, but the questions are very different. So I'll get people in CISSP going, hey, I recognize all this stuff. And then they get questions like, whoa, this is not how they ask the questions for Security Plus. ASACA is the organization that maintains the CISA. So they're, again, just another certifying body. My recommendation is this. If you've got other certifications that you're working on, do those before CISSP. They're going to be great practice and great foundation. And by the time you're done with your CISSP, you're not going to want to take another exam anytime soon. So I always recommend if you've got a learning path, which I generally recommend CEH, Security Plus, and CISSP. CEH first, Security Plus, complement CISSP to wrap everything up. So that was a long answer to a short question, but any other certifications are generally going to incorporate some of the CISSP exam objectives, but it won't necessarily be a one-to-one mapping. Excellent. Well, Fatty, yeah, definitely hit me up. We'll give you some more. You're going to be getting an email after today's session. That email will give you next steps to enroll, and we're going to follow up also with all attendees who've signed up for the session. Good questions. Also, glad to be working with you on your CEH Fast Track exam prep. All right, Utku, how many hours on average does a user spend to take the exam in 3 months? That varies. When you engage phase 2, okay, really quickly, here's my 3-phase program. Phase number 1 is 5 days of instruction, the ISC Squared official guide, and the associated questions. I want you to go through all that material to get the foundation. That takes anywhere from 5 days to 2 weeks. Some students hammered out in the evenings, they get all that done. Once you've completed phase 1, and I'm not too terribly concerned about your passing scores or percentages in phase 1, I just want you to see the material. Because the book by itself is not going to prepare you for the exam. It doesn't get the mindset, and it certainly doesn't get that intuition or experience. but it's the building blocks. Phase 2 is a proprietary engine that I've been using since I started teaching CISSP with excellent results. The phase 2 preparation is anywhere from 2 weeks to say 3 months. You're going to go through the entire question pool at least twice, hitting 90% or better in your test mode. Once you're hitting 90% or better, then you take measuring stick exams. Measuring sticks are phase 3, and I use measuring sticks in all of my courses. But these measuring sticks are actual retired CISSP questions from years gone by. They're not live dumped, anything like that, but they're a measuring stick. If you pass those questions at a 70% or better, you would have passed the real thing. So that's how we gauge your readiness. Are your scores adequate or not? Everybody's a little bit different on how they approach that. So what I'll recommend is for phase 2 after class, you set a specific number of questions per day or a specific time allocation. Recommendation, hour to 2 hours a day or more is better, 5 to 6 days a week. Now, Tim, the guy that just went through it in 6 weeks, he was cranking out like 800 questions a day. That's a lot, but he also had the latitude and the flexibility to do that. So it's all dependent on people's schedules. But I don't give you time frames on anything. There's no expirations. There's no expiration dates. It's a matter of when you're hitting your proficiencies. If you set a date too early, you rush the process. If you take the exam unprepared, you're going to fail it. I guarantee it. If you're hitting your metrics, you got the confidence to go into that exam and you've got the numbers to back it up. So the answer to that is it varies. It depends on how deliberate you are with reading the questions. I want you to read explanations for everything. Okay, those explanations, you're going to learn a ton in the process. So hopefully that wasn't too vague of an answer, but it varies from student to student. It's a great question. All right, William, first off, I've had you for my CEH training. Excellent. You're great and as available as I claimed. Thank you. I appreciate that. The CISSP requires ongoing training. What does that entail? A simplified to-do list, read this book, articles, take this course, etc. 3 phases of practice questions. Now, I would love to think that I could have you listen to me for 5 days and you can go take the exam. I'd be not your average instructor. Unfortunately, it's a lot of repetition. The in-class delivery, you're only going to really pick up a certain percentage of that. So it's all about repetition. Learning is all about repetition. The best way to repeat and prepare for an exam is to take questions. So as you take these questions progressively through the 3 phases of graduating difficulty, you get that practice, you get that mindset, you get that experience deliberating between 2 correct answers. If you don't get it right, you read the explanation, no problem, I won't make the mistake again. So I do have lots of resources, but your best return on investment is practice questions, practice questions, practice questions, which is also one of the easiest schedules to maintain. You're engaged, your mind doesn't wander, you have to think about the questions, and it's been very effective. So you'll get the book, you'll get the enhanced materials in the 3 phases of engines. So hopefully that answered your question. Excellent. Oh, tell you what, I've got an answer live button here I've never seen. That should actually display the questions in the window. Sorry, I'm using Zoom webinars for the first time. I usually use the Zoom client. The interface is a little bit different. Benjamin, I had contacted ISC² regarding CISSP training. I'm glad you're providing it. I was your student for CH Master. I knew the name sounded familiar. Good to have you back, Benjamin. Is training camp part of this? No. Somehow I ended up on their list and wonder if they social engineered their way into the flow, or I should contact you directly. No, training camp, I've actually worked as a contractor for training camp. Training camp is an official provider, but they're not associated with this webinar. So yes, you can definitely contact me directly. Muzadak, is the CISSP exam available for all countries such as Iraq? It should be. I'm not sure. You'd have to double check. It's a little bit different from country to country. I'm based in North America and the United States, so I'm pretty well versed in where you take the exam here, but I would recommend that you Google it. You could go to ISC²'s website and look for exam availability. You can also check Pearson VUE. So hopefully that answered your question. Lamine, how much impact does CISSP have on a career if you already hold CEH? What I would generally recommend is the trifecta of required certifications. You've got Security Plus, you've got CEH, you've got CISSP. The more certs, the better. They're never going to work against you, but it also depends on the requirements of the company that you're actually applying to or interviewing with. At the same time, your interviewer or your manager also, they will have various opinions on various vendor certifications. And it's based on their experience, if they've taken the exam or whatever. So it's dependent on who you're applying to. The CISSP will always differentiate you from other candidates every time. It may be a requirement. CEH is a great certification to hold because it shows you have an understanding of how the hacking process works. So that's practical. CISSP is not a lab-based course. It's holistic, it's knowledge, it's a ton of stuff, but it doesn't really exemplify hands-on expertise. So with your CEH and your practical, you certify that you've got hands-on. Now, those of you attending the webinar, we do teach the CEH V13 master course as well. We'll be running another webinar just like this in a few weeks to talk about CEH. We also have package deals available for CEH and CISSP, or even CEH, CISSP, and Security Plus. So again, you can cover all the bases, but it really depends on who you're applying with. So great question, Lamine. All right, Benjamin, contact original ISC. Oh, yeah, I am not an official ISC squared provider. I choose to use a customized solution. So I see what you're saying. Tell you what, Benjamin, let's touch base after the webinar and discuss that a little bit more. All right, Muzadek, record of the webinar on email. We will be providing the session recording for those who are unavailable to attend. All right, anonymous attendee. Is my program like CISSP VA approved for veteran readiness? We're working on it. So currently we accept Army credentialing assistance and Air Force COOL. We're working on VRNE, GI Bill, and other types of funding, but that's a bit of an application and accreditation process. So we're working on it. Yeah, I don't have the ability to take those types of payments yet, but we're working on it for 25. Oh, to maintain it and stay up to date. To maintain it, you have to get continuing education credits, and then you have to pay your annual maintenance fees, all right, which everybody's got, pay up your yearly maintenance fees. Typically, you can think of it like this. You take one 40-hour class per year, and that generally qualifies. So 120 credits in 3 years, and then your annual maintenance fees, $85. I think it went up to $100. I've got them all on auto pay here, so I don't really pay much attention anymore. I probably should. Yeah. Muzadek, thank you. Great job. Excellent. Thank you so much. Oh, CCT scholarship program. Excellent. All right, Lamine, thank you for the explanations. Excellent. Dylan, hey. Current Eric Reed student here working through phase 2. I'm 10 days in, and I know personally for me and my learning speed, it's going to take me more than 2 weeks. At first, a little discouraging, seeing firsthand that it's taking longer than others, but everyone's learning ability is different. Not stopping now. Eric is great and is there to support you along the way. He will, in fact, sneak away from the wife and take your call. Yes, I will. Just talked to Dylan actually a couple days ago. Ongoing training. No exam center in my country. You cannot take the exam online. The CISSP exam requires an in-person sit. Every so often, they'll try to do it online, and generally, it's a beta testing, and then that's it. Musa, hey, how you doing, my friend? Not a question, but a testimonial. Excellent. I worked with Eric through my journey of earning 7 certifications. Is it 7 now? Passing each on my first attempt with over 90% success. No doubt CISSP will the same. I have no doubt you're going to pass it on your first attempt. Myself, Musa, you've been killing it over the last couple of years. Huge thanks to Eric for his detailed guidance. Investing in yourself is absolutely worth it. You won't regret it. In 3 years, I've achieved a 170% cumulative salary increase. Not bad. All right, well, I think that's all the questions and all the answers. Now, again, to wrap up, we work with partner organizations like, for example, CED Solutions. So if you were invited to this webinar by another vendor, please do discuss pricing and availability directly with the vendor. There might be some additional military funding that's available depending on the partner organization. So if you receive the invitation directly from me, you'll again be receiving follow-up emails. We can discuss your questions, concerns one-on-one. Please direct any other enrollment or pricing questions to the partner that invited you to the webinar. All right, very good. Well, I think that's all of our time for today, everybody. It's now 2 p.m. So once again, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. If you enrolled online for the webinar, you'll be getting an email from me with the discount deal for today's promotion. Again, if you've been invited by one of our partners, then please do reach out to them directly for upcoming sessions and pricing information. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. I do appreciate your valuable time. I hope this was informative and encouraging, and I look forward to hearing from you to get you started on your CISSP journey. Thanks, everybody, and have a great rest of your day, and have a great weekend.